Okay, magandang umaga po sa kanila lahat. Magandang araw, PH Politics po para sa, of course, political updates natin. Well, alam naman natin, masalimuot yung ating sitwasyon ngayon, no? Yung ating political situation, magulo sa Kongreso. Of course, dahil nga dito sa usaping confidential funds ng Office of the Vice President. And a lot of things a lot of things have happened. Medyo nakakalungkot na po na yung mga pangyayari ngayon. So meron tayong i-feature na video from an interview with Miss Ma'am Rowena Guanzon, yung former COMELEC commissioner, so COA din siya, COA commissioner. And maganda po yung kanyang explanation at saka yung kanyang saloobin tungkol naman sa confidential funds. Maaari po natin itong pakinggan at maganda po yung kanyang explanation. Balanse po naman yung kanyang pananaw regarding confidential and intelligence funds. Pakinggan pa natin.
Well, confidential funds should concern everyone. Bakit? Kasi pera nyo yan eh. Taxpayer kayo eh. Kahit nga sedula lang, magbabayad kayo eh. Diba? Kahit nga mayor's permit lang, magbabayad din kayo eh. Bakit sila may confidential fund na almost or more than 60% ng debt, country is in debt, more than 60% of the gross domestic product, 14 trillion debt. Tapos, magko-confidential fund kayo ng 2.1 billion sa Office of the President lang. Bakit mag-confidential fund ng presidente? Nandiyan naman ang confidential fund ng army, ng military, ng police, that he is the commander-in-chief. Bakit kailangan pa niya mag-confidential fund? Intel fund. Iba ang Intel fund sa confidential fund.
What's the difference?
The difference is the intelligence fund is for military,
and you're okay with that?
Bodies.
And with the amounts, you're okay with the amounts?
It's necessary, but it's how they spend it that's objectionable. The confidential funds are called as such because they are appropriated for civilian agencies. So, for example, last year, the Department of Transportation had around 30 million. The Department of Social Welfare had 30 million. I mean, who are you going to entail in the DSWD? While the state universities and hospitals, they've cut the budget. But now, the President wants 1.2 billion in his confidential fund. The Vice President wants, 500 million? And another 500 million for DepEd. Which now, ito masaya. Kasi now, the House of Representatives, dati, kandara pa sila. Bigay kay BP Sara ng, no questions asked, confidential funds. Ngayon, binawi nyo. Siyempre magagalit si Digong sa inyo. Di ba? Uwak-bawi pala kayo eh.
Pero, sinabi po ni Presidente,
hero ba kayo? Hero? Ha? Dahil binawi nyo? Dahil nakinig kayo sa taong bayan? Hindi naman eh. Baka naman politika lang yan.
Nabanggit po ni former President Duterte na gagamitin sana ni VP Sara yung confidential funds para sa ROTC. Is that legal?
Ay, hindi naman po pwedeng sa ROTC nyo yan gamitin. Kasi yung mga confidential fund, may regulation ng Commission on Audit dyan. Hindi po ba? May circular yan. Ang problema po kasi, sa Intel Fund, walang resibo. Yung confidential fund, wala ring resibo. I was mayor also before, and naging COA commissioner pa ako. Alam niyo ba, liquidation ng Intel Fund na yan, ipapasok lang sa sealed envelope, nakalagay sa circular, in sealed envelopes. Pwede ba recipe ng adobo mo, ilagay mo doon, adobong dilaw? Ilagay mo doon sa sealed envelope. Di ba yan papasa sa COA? Kasi sealed envelope yan eh. That's what I've been saying, that the Congress, aside from doing the Filipino people a favor, so it speaks, magpasa na kayo ng batas na nililimitan nyo yung confidential fund zero sa civilian agencies. At ang Intel funds ay may batas na nag-regulate kung paano yan gagastusin.
Senator Sonny Angara was defending the confidential fund of the President, saying that he is the head of state, merong mga bagay na siya lang nakakaalam at nakakakita.
Hindi ko alam kung ano alam niya. Pero
And ma'am, this has been...
Pero I am saying that he is the commander-in-chief and he has all of these intel funds of these military agencies at his disposal. Siguro naiinggit siya kay Digong kasi 4.5 billion si Digong no? Last year. Sabi ni BBM siguro, ba't ako 1.2 billion lang, umaangal kayo?
4.5 na rin.
But that's the issue, ma'am. Why now? Why is it just being looked at now, shed to light? Is it the sheer amounts, the sheer audacity?
Alam nyo kasi,
or it's been there for every administration?
Grabe ang mga tao ngayon Kaya bumagsak yung rating nila. Grabe na yung inflation, grabe na ang rising prices. 60% or more of the GDP ang utang. O baka gusto niyo matulad na kayo sa mga mas mahirap pa na bansa sa atin na halos hindi na tayo makabili ng bigas natin. So in that context na poor ang country naton, mag-intel fund, confidential fund pa kayo na hindi namin alam where you spend it. Napaka-confidential, di namin alam. Ako, sa Constitution, there has to be accountability and transparency, Gretchen. O saan ang transparency dyan kung sealed envelopes yan? Gusto nila lahat, may confi fund sila kasi parang yun ang kanilang kitty-kitty, di ba?
Hold on, I want to take this chance to correct a misconception though. Confidential funds are audited kasi a lot of people assume that they're unauditable, but they are
Intel funds are also audited.
Yes,
There is
they're
a COA circular.
they can be audited. It's just that, as you pointed out, the rules
No
on
receipts.
liquidation are unclear.
No receipts are required. It's in the
Correct.
circular. You read it.
So what happens to that sealed envelope? Who gets to read it? Who
The
gets
COA.
to check it?
The
Sila
COA
lang.
auditor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
So it's really
in case
them.
of national agencies, the office of the chair of COA has a specific officer there in the rank of director.
If there are further questions, what happens then?
Well, they can disallow it. You see, the COA is the guardian of the funds of the government. So
the
they
buck
can
stops
disallow
with the COA.
it. Yeah, they can disallow it. But tell me, and no offense to COA, it's a professional organization. I was very happy there, and I have a family there. I feel like I'm family up to now. Meron bang confidential fund o intel fund na disallow? Wala, di ba?
But how would that happen, ma'am? Because if that's already been voted on, deliberated on by the budget, and is part already of that, how do you take away the allocation for that? As what are you
What do you mean,
proposing?
take
Just
it away?
completely
Oh.
abolish or realign it? Put it in a new budget?
No. We have to stop confidential funds.
And where would we put the money, ma'am?
But put it in social services.
Okay.
Put it in state universities. Put it in hospitals. Give it to persons with disability. Give the persons with disability their monthly assistance fund. The senior citizens who are indigent. Give them that. There's
But
so
ma'am,
many
just
things
from
you
a
can
practical
do with so many
perspective.
billions of pesos, and you want it in confidential funds.
But from a practical perspective, how can we decide on where this money would go? Wouldn't that take
That's
deliberations from the House?
the job.
Diba?
That's the job
Parang-
of the Congress because
Yeah,
it
it's
holds
going
the
to take
purse.
a whole other
But it
deliberation
holds
of
the purse. Now, why are they withdrawing
Where will we
it
put
from
it?
VP Sara? Why are they withdrawing it from all the civilian? All of a sudden, they have a hallelujah. They found the Holy Grail. They're now zero for civilian agencies, and they'll move it to the Coast Guard and military. All of a sudden, is there politics there involved? I like that. But I want it for the right reasons, Mr. Speaker. For the right reasons. That confidential funds should be stopped once and for all. Because we cannot
Across the
afford.
board, across
we
the board.
cannot afford a single million, a single peso in confidential funds that are most likely going to be in the pockets of public officials. Because, again, there is no transparency and the regulations for liquidation is very vague. Very vague. So, pass a law.
Kaya po pala hindi pa na-approve yung ninyo. Pagiging congresswoman ninyo.
Alam nyo,
Maybe that's why.
alam nyo, kahit naman di ako nakaupo doon nakaupo naman ako dito. Di ba?
In your time as commissioner there at COA, have you ever opened one of these sealed envelopes?
Oh no, that's not my job. That's the job of the
Because I'm just
director in the
curious,
chair.
what is written there? If receipts are not required, what do they submit then? You know
Well,
what I mean?
they're supposed to have a
FYI.
program, right? So in the National Expenditure Program, which you call later the budget, they have specific line items, right? And they'll say intelligence fund. They're supposed to have a program. You know, what are you going to use it for? And they submit that to the head of office or the disbursing officer. And then the COA will audit it according to that program. Say, for example, they cannot buy equipment, they can't buy trucks, unless it's for a specific intelligence activity, which they will specify where, how. But as I said, sealed envelope yan.
But to date, ma'am, the COA has not said anything about these confidential funds in all of their audits. So far,
Well,
wala pa naman
as
silang...
a courtesy, I don't think any COA commissioner will sit here and tell you about it. But you ask them if they have disallowed any, and I don't think they have disallowed any.
Why do you think that's the case?
Because as I said, it's confidential. It's so confidential that it cannot be disallowed.
But two people would know, the director and the, as you mentioned, could open the envelope.
Yes.
Okay.
As I said, these regulations are vague. So why bother? Let's go to the
Why
root of the
bother?
problem. Why even appropriate confidential funds to civilian agencies when they are not needed?
And it's also
They're
not
not a
just
necessity.
these departments that
Oh.
were mentioned. Nasa LGU din eh.
That's the point eh. Even mayors have confidential funds. And this is it. There's no limit.
Exactly.
There's no limit, Gretchen. In other words, look at some LGUs that Yusek Magno, you know, she said this. The confidential funds of some LGUs have a bigger share of the pie than social programs. Like, let's say, hospitalization. Diba? Who gets to say how much they can appropriate? Only the Sangguniang Panlunsod, and that's very political.
You don't buy the argument that they need it for peace and order?
Oh, bull. Oh, bull. I
Is
was mayor, you know, and mayors don't need intel funds for peace and order. They should have to put it in the MOOE. Maintenance and operating expense. Put it in your police services. You hire more traffic people. You buy more ambulances. You buy more whatever. You know, more police women on the streets. Intel fund to ensure peace and order. That's a fallacy.
Ma'am, is there
It
hard
does
evidence?
not follow.
Is there hard evidence that this has been used for corruption? Hard evidence.
What do you mean hard evidence? Has anybody been sued in the ombudsman for the misuse of confidential funds? I don't think so. But you know, you gave me an idea. I'm going to search for it tomorrow and let you know. But I don't think so.
Yung extraordinary funds.
Extraordinary
Ano naman
expenses.
That's kind of the same, right? It's confidential funds for
No,
LGUs and
but
extraordinary
the House
funds.
said they didn't. The House, diba, has been accused of having confi funds as well, and they said no, you don't have confi funds. They're
They have
called
extraordinary
extraordinary
funds.
expenses.
Well,
please help us understand what extraordinary expenses are.
well, I think that's the funds that they use for entertaining, foreign guests, things like that. That's. You look at the extraordinary funds, it's probably going to have a lot of receipts for restaurants.
Oh.
No, okay,
Yes.
not security.
So, extraordinary funds. But not security, because security will have its own fund. And in the budget, it should have a line item, di ba? That was the controversy. But there was no line item, zero. And then, you know, the House said the VP can have confidential funds because it's in the heading. No, but then somebody said, no, it has to be in the item. No. But then now they turn around and say, no one na. They binawi nila kay VP Sara ang confidential fund. Eh, syempre magagalit. Di ba? Syempre magagalit si Digong sa inyo. O, ano? Merese. Kung sa Ilonggo pa.
I was reading Yusek Magno's Twitter account the other day, and she was unearthing a lot of documents. She was saying the earliest mention of a confidential fund was during Magsaysay's time. It was a private fund raised as a reward against
Hook balahap.
hook leaders. And it seems like Marcos Sr. started the confidential fund as we know it. And there's a document that she posted that confidential funds were used to finance Imelda Marcos's travels. And she said CFs breed corruption. What do you know about that?
Well, she's USEC of Finance formerly. So she has evidence. I mean, they probably had vouchers or notes, and I believe her. I believe her.
This document dated
Yeah, Shelo Magno
1981.
from the UP School of Economics is an expert, very credible.
And speaking of which, you have a public movement against corruption with her. Tell us more about that.
Yes, thank
What
you,
are
Dan.
you expecting here?
Well, it's being started now, and thank you for letting us launch it here in TV5. And of course, Yellow Magno told me, go ahead, talk about it. Tonight, we are announcing that there is a growing movement called Wag Kang Ko-Corrupt,
Okay.
which is going to be a nationwide movement to protest confidential funds and put an end to it and put an end to corruption. So it's really an anti-corruption movement, but specifically now we are protesting against the confidential funds.
I mean, time and time again, we do hear about the fight against corruption, but what do you propose civilians do to actually expose it and to find where it is?
Well, now, the difference between now and, let's say, 5 years ago is social media. All right? So people can gather in social media without physically standing there. And we're counting on it. And as Maria Ressa said in her book, 96% of the users of Facebook, 92 are Filipinos. So where are the 8%? I mean, 92% of Facebook users, kayo, Filipino kayo. At may karapatan kayo sa lahat ng ginagawa ng gobyerno nyo, lalo na sa pera, kung paano nila ginagastos. May karapatan po kayong tumutol dyan pag alam na natin na ina-abuse na nila at open sa abuse ito. Madali lang naman eh. Gusto ng Congress, i-stop yung confidential funds, edi pumasa kayo ng batas. Wala nang... when we were in COMELEC, I'm very proud to say, lahat kami commissioner, sabi namin, wala kaming confidential fund. Zero. Gusto lang ni Chairman Andy Bautista, confidential fund, 8 million. No,
But
we
you
passed...
shot it down.
We passed a resolution.
Yeah.
And I spoke with Senator Legarda in the Senate Finance Committee, and I spoke with Congressman Nograles in the Congress Finance Committee, and I told him, I spoke to him on the phone, and I said, we are willing to appear, to tell you that we don't need it. I don't think we should spend the people's money on activities other than quasi-judicial functions and counting your votes and making the rules. Di ba? So wala kaming confidential funds. Sabi nila, ikaw naman, ayaw mo ba yun? May may share ka? Alam nyo, ito mga share na ito. Kaya kayo, yung corruption na culture, tinotolerate nyo.
Commissioner, just very quickly, your anti-corruption movement, how big are you now? I mean, I know you're just about to launch it.
I think I'm the one they put up here so that I can be targeted. But
There
these
you
are
go.
very credible people. Very credible people have put up this movement. And I think tonight or tomorrow we will, of course, launch the Facebook. And it
People can post on that page.
Oo, sali kayo. Lahat, sali kayo. Vendors, tricycle drivers, tambay, sali kayo.
But what I
Oo.
love about what Yusek Magno is doing, that she's unearthing actual numbers and data to back her accusations.
Lalabas dyan lahat sa Facebook post.
Tsaka meron siyang
page na
tutorial teaching people
Wow.
how to find these confidential funds data.
yan. Yes.
If you're going to write about it, if you're going to want to see it
She's
close.
basically giving us all a crash course on economics,
And
on
we need
finance,
that.
on statistics.
And how to
Yeah.
look for the information that we need.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
we are entitled to as citizens
Yeah.
of this
That's what the Facebook page will give the public.
Turuan nyo kami kung paano hanapin.
Gusto ko nga kung paano Tagalogin yan, di ba?
Tama yan.
Mga tao, maintindihan nila. So sa ngayon, may utang. Ang laki ng utang ng Pilipinas, no? Ang gross domestic product, 60% ng gross domestic product, utang. Tapos magko-confidential fund sila. Tumutol po kayo kasi nagbabayad naman po kayo talaga ng buwis.
Ma'am, what about the Maharlika Fund? Okay ka na ba dun?
Babalikan pa ba natin yan?
just, support, not support, especially with the
Ay,
revisions
matagal na
that
ako
have been,
nag-object dyan.
despite
Sa
the
Maharlika
revisions
Fund na yan.
po.
Kaya, di ba sabi namin, we threatened, mag-hunger strike kami sa labas ng batasan kung sasama pa yung SSS namin at GSIS. Tinanggal naman ni Kong Stella Kimbo. Salamat.
Eh, ano pong masasabi po niya dun sa stance dito sa confidential fund? She was initially defending it.
Yung kay BP Sara.
Oh.
Sabi niya nasa heading daw eh.
What do you mean?
Nasa heading daw. Ganun. Pero wala sa line item. No, so, pero in the end, it's now water under the bridge kasi sabi ng speaker, tanggalin di tinanggal nila.